Hi, this is Susan. I just wanted to run a test with my new webcam up on my old tripod hanging over my desk to see if I could get this right. If you do watch this, if you could let me know how the sound is, how the lighting is, and how the focus is, that would be a huge help to me. This does not look to be like something I can leave set up all the time, but anyways, I thought I would do a flip and that would give me a chance to make any adjustments I need to make. This is going to take some getting used to working like this. This is the very first art journal I ever made. It started off as somebody else's book put together, you know, one of those you just buy at the art store, and it had some really heavy-duty watercolor paper on it. And I just started playing with paint first until it became an entire book of background pages, because I was just trying to get used to holding a paintbrush and figuring out how any of that kind of stuff worked. I had never done any art whatsoever. Then I started playing with collage. I went to one collage class because as a writer, paper has always been appealing to me, so paper, collage, glue, you know, it just seemed like a good idea. And this was not anything that we did in the collage class, but it got me kind of hooked. Actually, it introduced me to some of these sort of handmade papers. And so then I went back to my writing world, and I was looking at things that maybe I could combine my writing and my art. And these are poems inspired by pictures. Maybe they're not really even poems, but they're little writings, because a friend of mine, Laura Solis, would post a picture every Thursday, and she called it 15 words or less. And the idea was that you were supposed to look at the picture and write something inspired by the picture that was 15 words or less. So that's what I did. And then I went back and printed out the pictures and decided that I wanted to save these things. So I put them into this book. And it was, you know, some good practice on trying how to blend pictures. I didn't know anything about transfers yet, image transfers, but it was a good idea or a good way to practice on how to blend things into the page. And I discovered I really didn't like the idea of just plopping a picture on the page and writing next to it. I never did any scrapbooking. My poor children did not even get really books of pictures with recording things, you know, that happened as they were growing up. Sorry about that, kids. But it made me realize how much I had to learn, basically. And so I basically tried just blending things with paint, and I think I had some oil pastels at the time. Discovered I loved making backgrounds. I just really love making backgrounds, and this thing has, every page has many, many layers. These are alcohol drips. This is actually paper. But I did not get the hang in this book of making pictures disappear into the back. But like I said, it was a really good practice thing for me, and it's really kind of neat to look at in person and see my growth and see the things that I still do. I love to drip India ink on the page and then either, you know, move the page back and forth or spray water on it or drop alcohol on it. I love to use little scripts of paper just to add a little texture here and there. And these pages are very, very much textured. Oh, this was the page I hate the absolute most. There was nothing I could save. I did not know about gesso at this time. This would have been a really good time for me to just gesso the whole page and start over again. But it's good to look back and see how far we've come. It taught me a lot about composition. It taught me a lot about what colors I liked putting together. And it's just really nice for me to look back on all these 15 words or less poems that I did. I don't know if Laura's still doing that, but her name again is Laura Solis, and if she's still doing that kind of a project, I'll link to it down below in the description. It was just a lot of fun working with tones. Again, like I said, I had never done any kind of art before. This was the very first anything that I did, just trying to paint pages, and I felt so awkward holding a paintbrush and dipping it into the paint. I don't remember doing things like finger painting as a kid. I played in mud outside, but I don't remember smearing paint on papers. I think it was always too messy to do at home, and I don't remember anything like that in school. So I was just absolutely entranced with, is that a right word? I don't know. I was in love with the idea of spreading paint across the papers. I knew I wasn't much with the drawing. I've never had the patience to learn how to really draw. Notice I didn't say I can't draw. My friend Terry would remind me that it's not that I can't, it's that I won't take the time to learn. So I think that's probably what it is with me. This one blended into the background, but again, another page that would have benefited from a lot of gesso. So I'm not showing this because I think this is the most beautiful thing in the world. I'm showing this because this is my beginnings. This is where it all started for me. It started with words and pictures, somebody else's pictures, my words, the inspiration, and wanting to save those. And like I said, I never scrapbooked before, so this is how I came up with a way to combine my artistic practice with saving these poems and the pictures that were inspired, because really when you look at them without the picture, they don't mean nearly as much as when I see this and I think, oh yeah, now this was underneath the bleachers and I can remember. And actually when I look at this, I think about being back in high school and cleaning up the garbage underneath the bleachers, and I don't know, it just, every picture triggers something, and that triggers the words. I do like this one. This is a combination of ink over a really white paper. The one best thing about that collage class, besides meeting some interesting people, was the introduction to these papers that I did not even know existed before. I didn't know anything about banana leaf paper and authentic parchment paper and handmade paper that had little bits of flowers and things. I'd never seen anything like that. So I went absolutely nuts when I found that kind of paper. And yeah, I maybe bought way too much of it. I can't remember the names of all the different ones. Lakota. Dick Blick has a really nice selection, and Dick Blick and I were really good friends for a long time. I have a lot of stuff to use up before I can let myself go shopping again. I hadn't thought about this before, going back at it and looking at it and seeing what color combinations I like. Some of the things that I continually return to would be greens and purples. Not purple on its own, even though I did have a purple bedroom as a kid, or a purple fur bedspread, and I wanted a whole purple bedroom. I do like the blues with the orangey yellow. Naples yellow. I hated it when it went on the page, but I do remember underneath all this is Naples yellow. Oh, there's some stamping in the background too. I guess I was just starting to get into stamps. This is some more of that neat paper, and of course you can't feel as much of the texture of the paper right now because it's got several layers of matte medium over it, or paint, or both. But still, the ink drips. And I think what I did is I had India ink on here, and then I dripped alcohol on top of it. Oh, and this was, I don't remember what the kind of paper is, but it's got a great texture, and then it's got these holes in it. I used it on some of my canvases. And experimenting with just pulling threads out. So I could just see a lot of my base artistic self just kind of playing around here, and I can see things that I, like I said, continue to do to this day. Layering was just something that was very hard for me to imagine, and I didn't understand how putting layer after layer of paint and stamps and paint and stamps and then words and pictures, just didn't understand how it could become something until I let myself really play through this book and told myself it's okay. I didn't have to show it to anybody, and then here I am videotaping it and going to put it up on YouTube so anybody can see how ridiculous it was. Okay, not ridiculous, but it was personal. It was a journey, and you know, I'm proud that I stuck with it. I'm proud that I finished the whole book. There's a lot of pages in this book. So that's it. I decided that this would be a good thing to test. Please let me know if the volume is good, if the lighting is good, if it's centered on the screen right. It looks like it is when I'm looking at it in my program here as I'm recording it. But who knows by the time it gets uploaded what it's going to be like. But I hope this is going to work, because that means I can do some lives. It means I can do a lot more tutorials. And it means that I have a system that will work, hopefully, with some consistency. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.